Well, now that I got my Uncle Howdy video done for tonight, golly, those things take, whew, that's some, that could be some research right there, folks. But it's fun. It's fun. I love doing that stuff. It reminds me of, I just got done reading a book about going on a journey and finding and sifting through clues. So, more on that later. But, yeah, SmackDown tonight was a good show overall, I thought. Um, the first round of the draft, however, is a dud, and I will tell you why. I'm gonna go to WWE's Twitter account here because they posted everything. Um, they had the draft tonight. Um, your first round, your very first pick was Bianca Belair to and I'm gonna try to put these in order as far as the pictures go. Um, Bianca Belair to SmackDown, Jey Uso to Raw, Carmelo Hayes to SmackDown, which we kind of expected, and then Seth Rollins to Raw. Um, Now I will say that with the more things change, the more they stay the same when it comes to the WWE roster because everybody pretty much stayed where they were. Um, we then had a segment where they had this LWO versus the Legado del Fantasma deal, and Carlito finally showed his true color. We got some quote unquote security footage, and Carlito was the one who attacked Dragon Lee. So, yeah, Carlito has officially turned heel. We then got a segment where Tiffany Stratton is wanting a match for the women's title. She gets told by Nick Aldis, who's running around like a chicken with his head cut off backstage because of the draft, that she's gonna fight um, Naomi tonight. Winner gets Bailey at Backlash. We then had round two of the draft. Round two of the draft was Randy Orton to SmackDown. Okay. Braun Breaker to Raw. That's a shocker to me. I thought he would have stayed on SmackDown. But anyway, Nia Jax to SmackDown. So there is a switch. And Liv Morgan is staying on Raw. So they had two movers and two keepers or two stayers there. Backstage, this bloodline thing with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is now cowardly, acknowledging the new tribal chief, as it were. And Paul Heyman, we get informed at the start of the show that Roman Reigns has removed himself from the draft, so he is undrafted at the moment. And we get Kevin Owens pulling a Pearl Harbor job, as Gorilla Monsoon used to say, on Tamatonga and Solo Sikoa. Good segment, I thought. Really good segment. Paul Heyman is killing it. Um, we then get, Solo Sikoa. Um, we get a brawl later on between, Randy Orton and trying to fight the Bloodline, Solo and Tamatonga, Kevin Owens. It was so crazy because you had let me try to explain this here. They interview Bianca Belair, and she and Jade and the Kabuki Warriors kind of square off, and then all of a sudden, through the entranceway, the way they're doing these camera angles now, because they're shooting this at the top of the entryway, like near the podium for the draft, was like at the top of the ramp, so to speak, which they don't do ramps anymore. I missed the ramp. Anyway, respect the ramp. Hashtag respect the ramp. There we go. At least AEW gives you a good ramp. It's about the only thing they get right nowadays. Anyway, um, so then all of a sudden, out of the gorilla position, you see Tamatonga and Kevin Owens fighting. So the women, they part the sea of the women, so to speak. They fight, 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 and then Solo comes in and gets the better of them. So it's 2-on-1. The Pearl Harbor job continuing, but now the tide has turned. It's 2-on-1, and here comes Orton, and those two square off. And then we get told that we're going to get the RKO show next week with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. So Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are now kind of teaming up. Round 3 of the draft um, consisted of LA Knight staying on SmackDown, Ricochet staying on Raw, the Bloodline staying on SmackDown, and Sheamus staying on Raw. Um, we then also saw the Final Testament beating up the New Catch Republic in the background in the backstage area. During the women's title match, Nia Jax comes in and attacks Bayley and Naomi. And that kind of, I think it kind of ended in a no contest, did it not? Let me check here. Hold on. By this time, I was deciphering the Uncle Howdy code. um, Let me check here. Sorry, guys. So yeah, it's a no contest after Nia Jax comes in and attacks. Um, we also see that they're hyping up that this Monday on Raw, the Street Profits are taking on A Town Down Under for the tag titles. Or actually, next week on SmackDown, I think it is. Um, Sorry, I know I'm all over the place, guys. I'm getting Uncle Howdy messages and what people thinking are behind the codes and the reasoning behind the codes. So, fourth round of the draft, AJ Styles to stay in on SmackDown. The Alpha Academy stays on Raw. Andre El Idolo is on SmackDown. Surprise, surprise there. He's kind of been there. And the shocker of NXT picks, everybody, there was reports online that NXT is going to get gutted. NXT is going to get absolutely gutted. Do I expect Ilya Dragunov um to be drafted Monday? Yes, but I just don't know where. Um, it would be nice to see him join up with the New Catch Republic, have that European thing going on. But anyway, Kiana James, of all people, gets drafted to Raw. So there's your fourth and final round. And we got a phenomenal match between Carmelo Hayes and Cody Rhodes. Um, this was just an awesome match. A very good match. A very good SmackDown. The draft itself is kind of disappointing. I like the whole presentation of it. I would have liked to see, honestly, the general managers making the picks, not just keeping the general managers in the war room. I would have liked to see it. If you're going to show the war rooms, we don't need all these old guys coming back. It was nice to see the Dudleys. It was nice to see Teddy Long. It was nice to see Michelle McCool. But we don't really need all this. It would have been nice, to see. I liked the very first draft that they had in 2002, where it was Flair and McMahon. And then you had Paul Heyman at one point with Eric Bischoff doing the picks. Um, I would have liked to see, you know, Triple H come out there and go, hey, the WWE draft is now open. It has now started. Monday Night Raw is on the clock, or SmackDown is on the clock, and bam, and we see a little countdown clock. And that takes us through the commercial break. Who's SmackDown going to pick? We'll find out next. Tick, tick, tick. We'll find out in 90 seconds, 3 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Tells you how long the commercial is going to be. But, and then have Aldis and Pierce make the picks. out there. Um, and then have, I like the NXT stuff that they had. God, how I feel sorry for the people having to sit in that ring in those chairs. They look like they were stacked in there like cordwood, boy. They look so uncomfortable in that arena, but it was nice to see that and getting interviews with Kiana James and everything. Um, but the overall picks, there wasn't nothing too shocking. I mean, that's the thing about the draft is it's, Vince always said it. It's time to shake things up, pal. We didn't really get a shake up at all. So they're gonna have to do better on Monday, in my opinion, with these picks. If not, if they just leave everybody where they are, what's the point of doing this? You don't need to do these flashy Tony Khan announcement gimmick shows to pop a rating. Okay? You're gonna get the same you're gonna get a rating. You're doing good. You don't need these gimmicks to do this. You don't need a draft to do this. Everybody's pretty much going wherever they wanted to go with the last few months anyway. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on SmackDown. That's my thoughts on the night one of the WWE 2024 draft. Electric Boogaloo. We'll see you down the road.